So, being terminally online and lightweight a weeb, I've been seeing these videos of iconic anime fights being narrated by seemingly high melanin individuals, and well, I want to give my shot at it. So, presenting Lee vs. Gaara by a medium melanin person. Before we get started, I want to say I hate how anime fights just don't start at full power. If anything, the fight should have gone like this. Lee goes straight into Gear 2 and does this. Fight over. Lee wins. But no, we gotta draw out the fight for like 3 episodes. For plot, I guess. So, let's go over what actually happened. Frame 1, and Gaara is already hitting the boy Lee with the disrespect, throwing the cork of his gourd directly at Lee. The fight hasn't even started yet, and Gaara's already non-verbally shit-talking Lee. I mean, look at them eyes. Someone call the ref. That's a false start if I've ever seen one. Bros staring daggers. That's a red card. Eject him from the field. The match begins and Lee goes straight to throwing hands, and to his dismay, gets blocked by the sand. And from the wise words of Darth Vader, that sand gets everywhere. Gaara then counters with sand, and Lee does an unnecessary, count it, 1, 2, 3 backflips. Hey buddy, this is a fight, not a gymnastics display. After an unnecessary flashback, Lee goes straight to throwing more punches. We already did this. Why are we trying again? Oh, you're using kunais and ninja stars now? This is Naruto. Let's not pretend the show isn't about wizards that occasionally scrap with each other. Eventually, Gaara does catch Lee's leg and whips Lee into a wall, reminiscent of some Asian disciplinary actions. Kishimoto was Japanese, so I wouldn't put it past him to be using some first-hand experience in his stories. After being ruthlessly thrown into a wall, Lee goes back to it, throwing hands with sand. Again, I want to reiterate, these two are both still sandbagging, Gaara literally and Lee metaphorically. Gaara again catches Lee slipping, literally, on the sand, and goes for the kill. But Lee again goes for the 1, 2, 3, 8 more backflips onto a statue that was sitting in the background. Ref, that's definitely outside the battlefield. Where's the DQ? Back to the fight, Guy Sensei gives Lee the okay to stop sandbagging and to remove the training weights. Iconic. Lee has now entered the Speed Force. Going back to punching and kicking, Lee starts landing hits and axe kicks Gaara into a dab. Using the Speed Force, Lee brought Gaara 11 years into the future. Lee continues to press Gaara and knocks him onto his back, but none of that matters because Gaara stands and shows his true colors, smiling as his sand shield is revealed, peeling like a sunburnt white boy after a long day at the beach. Hey, punch him again before his shield recovers. Don't just stand there. Well, Lee does just stand there, and Gaara covers up his smile with the sand and goes back to the non-verbal shit talk, just mugging Lee. Okay, side note, throughout this fight, constant chit chat. Stop talking, go back to the fight. Lee finally decides to attack again, prepping for the Lotus by unwrapping his bandages. Lee then blitzes Gaara with a barrage of 1, 2, 3. Alright, I'm tired of counting. About 12-ish kicks, and then hits Gaara with the bondage treatment. And like any good BDSM session, hits Gaara with the spinning pile driver into the concrete. Bro's dead. No shot he... After a small explanation on how he escaped, that didn't explain anything, to give an actual explanation on what happened, he's Houdini. Enough said. Gaara emerges from the ground, again, non-verbally talking crap. Bro needs to stop. This is a kid show. That language should not be tolerated. Even the spectators can hear his trash talk from the stands. Noticing that Lee is weak, Gaara begins to toy with him, whipping him with sand, showing Lee who the true Dom is in this BDSM session. But Lee, again, regains the power of the Speed Force and does a little non-verbal shit talk of his own. And that is when he activates Gear 2. Skin red, pupils white from bloodlust, veins popping and chakra flowing. Even the floor around him crumbles, scared to be around him. Lee again goes for the offensive. He starts batting Gaara around the arena, thinking he's Burrows, beating the bricks out of Saitama. But similar to Boros v Baldi, the aggressors share the same fate. Lee then goes for the disrespect sucker punch to the gut.
No human could move like this. Impossible to defend myself.
And just before Gaara can hit the ground, pulls him back up for seconds with his own drip. Now that's taking it too far. And finishes with a kick palm strike combo to the balls. No wonder Gaara has no kids in the Boruto cash grab. But Gaara's final defense reveals itself. The ultimate defense, indeed. Plot armor. Bros, basically. I don't care if Gaara's gourd cushioned his fall. After all this, you should have all your internal organs ruptured from the constant blood force trauma. But no, Gaara begins to go on the offensive and shatters one of each leg and arm, then tries to go for the death blow. But Lee is defended by Guy-sensei. Guy sneezes the sand away to Gaara's dismay. You may think this is the end, but unconscious, one of each leg and arm broken, and Lee still wants that smoke. Honestly, an inspirational moment. Gaara sees this happen and was like, nah man, this man doing the most, and dips as if nothing happened.